When it comes to the kings and queens of Gondor, not all of them were good, and one queen in particular was downright evil. Her name was Beretiel, and she had a twisted personality and a cruel temperament, and her story is one of the most iconic mysteries in the Lord of the Rings mythos. Hey guys, it's Carl here, and in today's episode, we'll be exploring the story of Queen Beretiel. So Queen Beretiel was a black Númenórean who lived sometime between the years 654 and 913 of the Third Age. Now, even though her people were distant relations of the men of Gondor, they were bitter enemies, for the black Númenóreans were evil, and they used to worship and serve Sauron in the Second Age. And during her time, the power of Gondor was growing tremendously, under the rule of its 12th king called Taranon. In fact, Gondor's naval strength and influence had grown to such incredible heights that it controlled many of the lands and coasts to the west and south of the mouth of the River Anduin. Now, in an interesting turn of events, King Taranon would choose to marry Beretiel, even though their people were enemies, and I believe that this marriage was politically motivated, for the black Númenóreans lived in the lands to the south of Gondor, such as Umbar, and this meant that as Gondor expanded to the south, they were getting closer to their lands, and so perhaps Taranon hoped that this marriage might appease the black Númenóreans and prevent them from threatening the security of his southern lands. After this marriage was secured, Taranon brought Beretiel to live with him in Pelargir, and she hated their life together. She couldn't stand living there, for she hated the sound and smell of the sea and fish, and the cries of the seagulls, and her marriage with Taranon was loveless, and they never had children. It soon became unbearable to Beretiel, and she decided to leave Pelargir and to live in the king's house in Osgiliath instead, though this change of atmosphere wouldn't improve her mood, and her hatred and bitterness festered inside her. She would keep her chambers bare, and she would only wear black and silver clothing, for she despised all colors and elaborate decorations, though for some twisted cause, she decided to decorate her gardens with tormented sculptures. Now, for some odd reason, cats always followed her around, and they seemed to be attracted to her, even though she hated them as creatures, and she would even go so far as to torture them for her amusement. Some of these cats would escape this cruel fate, though Beretiel still found a use for them, and she trained them to go out at night on evil errands and to spy on her enemies and the people of Gondor and terrify them. These cats would learn many dark secrets of Gondor that its people tried to hide at all costs, and even though the men of Gondor were suspicious of these cats, they were too afraid to act or touch them, and all they could do was curse their existence as they passed by. It would seem that through some form of magic, possibly black Númenórean in origin, Beretiel was able to speak to and read the memories of these cats, and she had 10 cats in total, 9 of which were black, and these spied upon the people of Gondor, while the other cat was white, and it spied upon the black cats and tormented them. Now Beretiel was eventually exiled from Gondor, perhaps because she discovered a dark secret through her cats, or maybe the people had simply grown tired and weary of her evil ways, though for whatever reason, King Taranon had her name erased from the Book of Kings, and he abandoned her upon a ship with her cats. It was last seen passing by Umbar under a sickly moon, with one of the cats sitting upon its masthead, while another lay as a figurehead on its prow. Though Beretiel would survive this exile, and she made her way back to a black Númenórean settlement that was far from the sea. I don't think her people were happy with the way she was treated. For some years later, a war broke out between Gondor and Umbar, and this black Númenórean port would finally be conquered by Taranon's nephew called Eärnil, and even though her name was erased from the Book of Kings, the legacy of Beretiel would live on, for the stories of her infamous cats would be kept alive in the tales of Gondor. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this mysterious character. How do you feel about her story? Do you think that her exile played a big part in the wars between the black Númenóreans and Gondor? And do you think that she was completely evil, or is there also a slight tragic element to her story? In one of Tolkien's interviews, he compared Baratheon to Skadi, the giantess from Norse mythology, for this giantess had desired to marry the handsome god Baldur, though through an unfortunate choice, she ended up marrying Njord, the sea god, and she absolutely despised the seaside life, which caused her to leave her husband and return to her home. I wonder if this is reflected in Baratheon's story. Perhaps she always detested the sea, and at first she was actually eager to marry King Taranon, though after she discovered the sort of life that she would have to endure, she hated it with a burning passion, and she let her bitterness and anger fester inside her, which led her down a dark path. Anyway friends, this wraps up today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons who have really helped to elevate this channel. It wouldn't be the same without you, and I would like to express how grateful I am for your support, especially our Wizard tier patrons, T. Gorman, Mike Feeney, Roland Mervold, and Jacob Williams. If you too would like to help support this channel while unlocking some cool perks, I'll be leaving a link to my Patreon page in the video description below. I'll also be leaving links to our Instagram, Facebook, Discord, and Twitter communities, so follow us if you'd like to have some extra Lord of the Rings content in your day-to-day lives. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to join our fellowship today. I hope to see you all in my next video, where together we'll once again explore the magical world and lore of Middle-earth.